Good evening, guys. Welcome to Network Ethics. So today is the day two for our 5-in-1 firewall combo demonstration, day two demo session. Okay. So yesterday we had we have discussed some course curriculum details, right? So what are the topics we are going to cover in this 5-in-1 firewall combo? What are the courses and what are the topic on each and every courses we have discussed, and right. So due to time concerns, we are unable to complete that course discussion uh, for some other I mean, I think we have completed two only for two firewalls. One is Paloalto and another one is FortiGate, right? So the course content discussion, right? So today also I don't want to go with that. So you guys need to know how my training flows. So that I'm going to take a randomly one topic. I'm going to take in a Palo Alto. So that is for your reference. So how our training is going to be. Okay. So for that purpose only. And regarding the course curriculum, I'll share with you today. I'll share all the documents, whatever the topics, whatever the firewall products we are going to cover in this fine on firewall compo, right? ASA and Cisco FTD and FortiGate firewall and Checkpoint firewall and Palo Alto firewall. All these five firewalls course curriculum I'll share with you for reference. And if you want to know full course curriculum details, yeah, Prasenjit, I will give you the demo. I mean, I'll share that demo videos. Okay, so last demo we given with the FortiGate only. So today we want to give it a pa Palo Alto. Okay, so if you want, I'll share. I mean, I'll share that Palo Alto previous session recorded videos for your reference, and you can go through that. And or else we'll try to arrange some other session for FortiGate. So no worries, FortiGate also will share with you guys, so you can just refer it. So this is for just uh, I mean, to show with you guys how our training flow is going to be like that. For that purpose only, right? So here guys are attending for the 5-in-1 firewall compo, right? And those who some of the guys are only for attending for the Palo Alto, and some of the guys only attending for the FortiGate. So no issues. So if you're expecting only for that particular firewall, and I'll share with you that. Okay, so previous session recorded videos, or else whenever we are going to start a new batch, if you're looking for a live demo, and you can join that live session as well. Okay, so for a demo purpose, if you're looking for a demo purpose, okay. And okay, guys. So let's start our today's session. So as I said, today's session we are going to start with a Palo Alto for demo purpose. So I'll give you some introduction about today's topic, and then we'll go for a lab. Okay, so we'll go for that particular session, particular topic lab as well, guys. Okay, so okay, guys. So just a minute. Our today's topic is about Palo Alto, and in Palo Alto, we are going to see uh, Palo Alto firewall deployment option. So data interface deployment option, guys. Okay. In Palo Alto firewall, you can deploy your Palo Alto data interfaces. Your Palo Alto firewall have different type of interfaces. So your Palo Alto firewall have dedicated management interface, which is used only for management activities. Okay. And we do have data interfaces. Okay, so that data interface you can use to connect with your internal networks and an external network as well. Okay, to the traffic flow which is passing through your internal network to WAN network, or from WAN network to your internal corporate network, right? So that and all happen through these data interfaces only. This topic, I mean this is called data traffic. Okay, so which is your internal to external communication, or internally within your say your LAN to WAN, or I mean LAN to DMZ network, or internal infrastructure you are going to communicate with by the help of these interfaces. Okay, and that interfaces are called data interfaces, and that is that whatever the traffic is passing through that interface, that traffic is called data traffic, or sometimes we call it as a through the traffic. Through the traffic, your firewall is going to be a mediator. It is going to pass that, it is going to help to that traffic to pass to the particular destination, from particular source to particular destination. So in that case, it is going to act like a mediator device, and it's going to just forward the traffic. While forwarding the traffic, it is going to do inspect whether the traffic is secure traffic or not. Okay, so about this to the traffic, through the traffic, and data traffic and all, and we have a separate session, so we'll discuss deeply about that. So as of now, just have just have idea, you can deploy your Palo Alto firewall data interface. What is data interfaces? The data interfaces are used to pass your internal request to external, and external request to pass your internal. It's a medium. Okay, and your communication is going to pass through that interface only. Your communication is going to happen through that interfaces only, and that traffic is called data traffic. As of now, this is fair enough. Okay, and also you can call it as a through the traffic. Okay, your firewall will examine only through the traffic. Okay, so your firewall will do deep inspection, or it will allow or deny by using rules. We are, as administrator, you are going to create rules to do deep inspect or do deep analysis for the through the traffic only, that data traffic only, guys. Okay, so that data might be a normal data, raw data, any type of data, voice or data. Okay, I call it as a data traffic. Okay, so and we have a dedicated management interface which is used to which is used to for management activities like accessing the console of your Palo Alto firewall. As an administrator, if you want to do some configuration, or if you want to enable some services in your Palo Alto firewall, everything you are going to do it through your management interface only. Yes, okay, so we are not talk about the management interface or management traffic, which is in Palo Alto, which is separately maintained by your management plane. Okay, or control plane. So we'll call it as a control plane in Palo Alto. So your Palo Alto firewall, it is dedicatedly maintained. We have a dedicated hardware unit to manage your management activities or control plane traffic. Okay, so that we will also we will call it as a to the traffic. Okay, so that we will discuss what is to the traffic and what is, sorry, to the traffic, not through, to the traffic, and data traffic, we call it as a through the traffic, or you can say it's a data plane traffic. Okay, so that and all, if you're very new to this domain, and if you're already working with a networking domain, and you're having some knowledge on routing and switching, right? So there is a chance you may aware about the data plane, management plane, and control plane. So to the traffic, through the traffic and all. If you're not knowing that, just leave it. We'll discuss it in a live session, guys. Okay, as of now, I'm going to give you the knowledge. What are the type of data interfaces deployment option available in Palo Alto firewall, and each and every options. What are the advantage in when we have to use the type of deployment, and when what is the advantage of we are having it that, what is the disadvantage we are having in that, right? And everything we will discuss now. Then we will go with the one of the deployment option called layer 3. Okay. Okay, so your Palo Alto firewall interface, data interface deployment, you can do it 5 ways. Okay, so physical data interface deployment, you can deploy it in a 5 types, guys. One first interface. Uh, okay, I think it's one is missed. Tab. Oh yeah, 5 are all are there. Okay, so first interface deployment is the tab interface, and you can deploy your Palo Alto firewall any your data interfaces, that is your Ethernet ports. Okay, so any of Ethernet port you can choose, and you can deploy as a tab interface. And tab interface, it's you when you're deploying your Palo Alto firewall as a tab mode, right? So that in that case, your Palo Alto firewall act like a IDS. I hope you guys are aware at least what is IPS and IDS, right? IPS, intrusion prevention system, IDS, intrusion detection system, right? So which can able to analysis your traffic flow, which can analysis your traffic inside whatever the threads or vulnerabilities, spyware, malware, right? Maybe it's a kind of attack. Everything it can able to do detect, but it will not take any action, not action taker device. It's not an action taker. Okay, it just analysis, and if it is identified, then it will further forward the traffic to your monitoring server. Okay, so that your Palo Alto firewall, you can deploy your Palo Alto firewall tap interface as a, your data interface as a tap interface. So in that interface, you can able to use as a log collector, and it will examine your traffic flow inside. Okay, and inside that traffic, any vulnerability is there, it can able to detect, and it can just send the traffic to the log servers, but it will not take any action against that. Okay, so but IPS can do that, but when you're deploying your Palo Alto firewall have that option IPS. Okay, but when you're deploying your Palo Alto firewall interface as a tab interface, that will not take any action. That will act like a IDS, and the most of the scenario we will use it in a monitoring or okay, traffic analysis purpose. We'll use it logs and monitoring purpose, or where you want to full thoroughly you want to deep inspect your traffic flow for auditing purpose, right? So that in that case we'll use that deployment type, guys, tab interface. Okay, so the advantage of when you're using a tab interface, so you can deploy your Palo Alto firewall on any data. If you want to deploy your Palo Alto firewall as a tab interface, tab mode, so you can deploy in anywhere else. It will work like IDS, and IDS means it can able to do deep inspect your traffic, and it will identify any vulnerability, spyware, all our user identification. It's possible application identification, application awareness is possible, and vulnerability awareness. The IPS, not IPS. It's a deep inspection. It's possible against that vulnerability to identify only to identify that vulnerabilities. And the advantage of deploying your Palo Alto firewall as a tab mode, you no need to deploy in your inline mode. You can just deploy it anywhere else in outer line mode in your network. So it is only act like a log collector. It will analyze your traffic, and it's like that interface. Your tab interface act like a span. It will collect all your traffic flow, span or R span if you're a switch port analyzer traffic, right? So I hope you guys are aware in that you learned in a CCNA level of training. Okay, so that it will collect your all traffic flow in your network, and it will send that it will collect the copy of traffic flow. Okay, copy of the each and every traffic packet, and it will send that traffic to, copy of the collection to the monitoring server. So likewise, that interface will do, and after that, this interface, once it is identified, it will send a report to the monitoring team. Okay, it will not take any action against that vulnerabilities. Okay, and another type we have a virtual wire interface. So virtual wire, you can deploy your Palo Alto firewall. So where you in your existing network. So I have one existing network. Let's say, in my existing network, I'll draw simple topology like this is my internal network. Let's assume, and it is connected with my physical LAN, and this LAN is connected with my ASA firewall. Let's assume, sorry, uh, I have one firewall. Okay, existing firewall might be any firewall. I am giving as an example as a ASA firewall, or in this place you may have any next generation firewall or normal traditional firewall, right? Anything, or else you can have a ISP gateway. Your gateway router as well, but I don't want to change my existing network. let's say we'll discuss with the ASA firewall. Okay, so ASA firewall, it's a legacy firewall. Let's say I'm having a ASA legacy firewall, which can able to filter the traffic and layer 3 to layer 4, and layer 7 it's not possible. Application visibility it's not possible. Application layer filter it's not possible, right? So which means you are not able to do URL filter, file blocking, application control, right? So that kind of things it's not possible, and you can't able to do deep inspection again the vulnerabilities. Okay, so IPS functionality, no IPS functionalities in your ASA firewall, traditional ASA firewall. Okay, so that kind of device I have in my protection network. And so nowadays it's not enough to achieve more security in my protection network. So nowadays the threats are more intelligent, right? So we need to do deep inspection to identify that. So we need a one LUTM features device which can, I mean, one IPS device we need to do L7 filter and deep inspection purpose. Okay, at least the IPS or any other device which can do L3 L7 filter with along with the deep inspection IPS functionalities. Okay, so in that case you need to migrate any other firewall, like you need to migrate uh, from ASA to any other next generation firewall like Paloalto, FortiGate checkpoint, right? Cisco FTD like that. But in my concern, I don't want to change my I don't want to make any changes in my existing network, and I don't want to replace my ASA because ASA is good in a routing and VPN for the kind of things. So in that case, still I want to achieve all UTM features, then you can purchase one Palo Alto firewall and you can deploy that Palo Alto firewall as a virtual wire mode. So if you deploy this Palo Alto firewall as a virtual wire mode, you no need to, sorry yes, you no need to change your existing topology, existing network infrastructure, guys. Okay, you no need to change your existing infrastructure, and simply you can place your Palo Alto firewall as in between your existing network anywhere, and that Palo Alto firewall can act like a UTM features. I mean IPS with UTM feature, all UTM features. So UTM feature mean all next generation firewall features like application control, URL filter, file blocking, content filter, right? DNS filter, DDoS protection, like that, zero day threat prevention. All those functionality it can able to do. Okay, only thing is it's not supporting your it will not support virtual wire deployment, will not support IP schema. It doesn't have, you can't able to assign any IP address, or you can't able to enable any switching routing. It will not support L3 and L2 features, which means it can't able to do you are not able to assign the IP address. Okay, and in this interface because it doesn't support the IP schema, and it doesn't support the layer 2 datagrams. Okay, so which means you can add this Palo Alto firewall and you can enable your Palo Alto firewall interfaces as a tab interface. So sorry, virtual wire interface. First of all, you need a pair of interfaces. Pair of interfaces you need to create virtual wire. So which means you're adding your Palo Alto firewall one incoming interface and outgoing interface as a virtual tunnel. It's like a pipeline only, and this interface will not have any IP address or MAC address. Okay, so it will not support L3 functionalities like routing, VPN, right? And then it will not support layer 2 functionalities. Okay, so it will not support spanning tree protocol and all. Okay, so what will happen, it but still it can act like a firewall. You can able to filter the traffic layer 3. Filtering is a different process, and supporting the layer 3 functionality is a different process. So it can act like a firewall. L3 to L7 filters you can achieve to you can create to filter that, I mean to block or allow some traffic. But when you want to enable some routing protocol, when you want to do VPN, right? So when you want to create a default route, right? So that and all, it's not possible when you're deploying in your as a virtual wire deployment. Okay, so that is one of the disadvantage. But the main advantage is you can deploy in between your existing network without changing your existing network, and this is non-traceable device as well. So if hacker is there, right? If hacker is try to bypass your device, your network, and he knows one is the L3 device is there, your existing firewall is there, so he knows that, and if he has some options to or way to bypass your firewall, and he can easily bypass that, and then he will think we can simply enter he can simply enter into your network. But we have, if you're deploying in a virtual wire deployment, these interfaces are not supporting routing, right? So that you can't able to trace the firewall a hacker can't able to trace your firewall. So in between, your firewall can do L3 and L7 filters, up to L7 filters. So it can act like a IPS, it can act like a all you next generation firewall, right? So filtering and deep inspection is possible, but routing and L2 functionalities are not possible when you're deploying in this mode, guys. So this is mostly very useful where your gateway devices are not capable to do L7 filters, application layer visibility, and L3 and L4, L7 filters and deep inspection. It's not possible in by your gateway device. In that case, you can deploy and you don't want to change your existing network, and you don't want to change your gateway, and you don't want to replace your gateway. In that case, you have this option, virtual wire deployment. So as of now, I'm just giving an idea, guys. So I'm just giving an overview what is virtual wire. So when you are going to do each and every deployment, that time I'll give you the depth knowledge on that, and we will do lab, so with the different scenarios, so you can easily understand. As of now, you guys are very new to this product, so if I'm trying to give much, you will get confused. So as of now, just have idea. Virtual wire deployment will help you when you don't want to change your existing network, but you want to add one IPS kind of devices, or when you want to achieve all next generation firewall features, okay, without changing your existing network. Then you have an option in a Palo Alto firewall. You have a Palo Alto firewall in that case, so you can deploy your Palo Alto firewall as a virtual wire deployment. So it is not supporting the IP address, and it is not supporting the MAC address, and it's just like a virtual tunnel between two interfaces of your incoming interface and outgoing interface of your Palo Alto firewall. Just keep it in your mind, when you're deploying your virtual wire mode, you need a pair of interfaces. By using single interface, you can't able to create a virtual wire. So virtual wire, it's like a binding two interfaces, okay, as a incoming and outgoing interface. We are binding these two interfaces. It doesn't mean port aggregation. We are creating the connectivity between incoming interface to outgoing interface. The incoming interface and outgoing interface both act like a same interface, single interface. These two interfaces act like a single interfaces. Let's say you're having some. You can just consider like you're having one pipeline, and that pipeline is had some loops, and you want to join that coupling. We will add in a pipelines, right? In a water pipe, we'll add coupling. So coupling has two joins. One end will connect with your one one of the pipeline, another end will connect with the another pipeline, right? So and after that, it will make a single pipeline, right? So when you're joining two pipes by using coupling, likewise, we are joining these two interfaces. We are okay by using virtual wire creation, so that we need one pair of interfaces, at least two interfaces. And if you want to create another virtual wire interface, and again you need a one more two interfaces. If you're having a three interface, and I just want to make it as a virtual wire interface between these three interface, not possible. You need a pair of interfaces. Okay. So further about virtual wire interface deployment, we will discuss in that particular deployment option session, guys. Okay. So as of now, just have idea. It's a binding two interfaces. Uh, Make that two interfaces as a single interface, logical interface. Okay. And it's not supporting the L3 functionalities and layer 2 functionalities, but it can able to do filtering, firewalling option, and it can able to do deep inspection, UTM option as well. It's possible. Okay. So, and this is the advantage when it is support L3 and L7 filters. Okay. And disadvantage, it will not support routing and switching and VPN protocol. You can't able to enable, or you can't, if you deploy your Palo Alto firewall as a virtual wire deployment option, and that in your Palo Alto firewall you can't able to enable routing, and you can't able to deploy establish the VPN. Okay, so that is not possible. This is the disadvantage of deploying your virtual wire, guys. But already we have one gateway devices that will do routing and VPN and all, so you can use as a UTM device, guys. UTM feature, I mean, as a firewalling device and UTM feature device. Okay, so that you can avoid the maximum latency in your production network, and it is non-traceable. So you're adding a one more security layer in your production network, and which is best practice when you are having existing firewall in your production network. So to add one additional security in your production network, you can deploy. If you have a Palo Alto firewall, you can deploy like this, guys. Okay, so that is the advantage of having virtual wire interface deployment. And then third one, we have a layer 2 interface deployment. So layer 2 means it's a switching environment. So when you want to deploy your Palo Alto firewall to secure in your switching environment, so where you have a, so in access layer switch, access layer, you can deploy your Palo Alto firewall or core switching environment, core layers. You can deploy your Palo Alto firewall to protect your switching environment, and there it will do L3 and L7 filters. And but only thing is, it will not support the L3 functionalities. But layer 2 VLAN, so it will support the VLAN and layer 2 functionalities. It act like a switch, and then it will act like a firewall. You can able to filter the traffic from layer 3 filters to, I mean, IP based filters, source IP and destination IP you can use to filter the traffic block or allow, and protocol or port number service based filters, that is layers 4. Okay, TCP UDP traffic you can filter, and then HTTP service and HTTPS or any other TCP services ports or service you can use to block some traffic. Okay, and application wise, like Facebook, Twitter, or like any specific application. Okay, like any remote access application or any network service related application like ping, right? So that applications and all you can able to just block by when you're deploying your firewall in a switching environment as well. Okay, only thing is it will not support routing and VPN. Okay, and then we have a fourth option for the deployment, interface deployment, that is layer 3 interface deployment. And here only you can use you can implement almost 90% of your Palo Alto firewall features can be implemented when you're deploying layer 3. It will, because it will support layer 3 functionalities. So it will support NAT, VPN, and then routing, right? And then it will since it's supporting the IP schema, and it will support the inter VLAN routing as well. Okay, and right, and other, and along with your firewalling features, L3 to L7 filters, along with your deep inspection features, IPS. Okay, UTM features, application control, URL filter, file blocking, all options will be possible to implement. And when you want to deploy your firewall as a gateway devices, you have to deploy in this option only, layer 3 deployment only, guys. Okay, clear. So when you're learning a Palo Alto firewall, first you need to start with the layer 3 deployment, so that you can have all these features. You can have some idea, or you can have some hands-on whatever the features is available in a Palo Alto firewall, so you can utilize it in this deployment option. And after that you can some of the features also which is supporting a layer 3, right? So that features, your layer 2 feature also will support, like UTM features and firewalling, and virtual wire also it will support like UTM feature and firewalling. Okay, so everything you can implement there, but only thing is layer 2 will not support layer 3 functionalities, and virtual wire will not support layer 2 and layer 3 functionalities, and layer 3 will not support virtual wire kind of things. Okay, but all, I mean, again, having a virtual wire is only for UTM feature up, only UTM features and deep inspection purpose only, and I don't want to change, or I don't want to make any changes in my existing network. In that case only I'm going to use virtual wire. But in my scenario, I want to deploy as a gateway device. Okay, gateway firewall. And right, so in that case I can go with the layer 3 deployment option, guys. So, and that device will do all 90% of your Palo Alto firewall features, firewalling features, everything it will support, guys. Okay, and then finally The fifth option for HA interface. So let me show you that. Layer 3 L3, L7 filters, and it will support routing and NAT, VPN, and only no layer 2 functions. So it will support inter-VLAN. So inter-VLAN routing by creating a virtual interfaces, L3 interfaces. Okay, but it doesn't participate in the L2 functionalities. Okay, so and final data interface deployment. Fifth one is high availability. So when you're deploying your Palo Alto firewall to Palo for a maximum availability, high, right? So maximum availability or redundancy purpose, we need a backup device, right? So that is called high availability, right? So when you're deploying your Palo Alto firewall with a high availability option, right? So redundancy purpose, we are going to add one more Palo Alto firewall, right? So in that case, your Palo Alto firewall, if you are having a physical Palo Alto firewall, some of the hardware, first thing you need a pair of interfaces, two interfaces, interface connectivity, you need a two connectivity or two interfaces between your Palo Alto firewalls to achieve the high availability. If you are giving a single connectivity between your Palo Alto firewalls, you are not able to achieve that. So if you're using a hardware firewall, right? So hardware firewall have some of the module have dedicated management interface with a pair of interface, two dedicated Ethernet interfaces for high availability purpose. They will have it in a high-end model, but lower end model and all, they will give you only one interface for high availability purpose. But you can achieve, if you want to achieve high availability, you need a pair of interfaces. You need a pair of interfaces to achieve high availability. Okay, and so you, in that case, you can use your data interface, data ports for high availability purpose. So in that case, that deployment you have to use HA deployment. Okay, so apart from that, HA will not participate any filtering. It's for management activities, not data filtering or data processing purpose. Okay, so it is comes under the management activities. It will only used for high availability purpose. It will not participate in the routing and switching, or it will not participate in the filtering and all. Okay, it is only for redundancy purpose. Okay, so you can deploy like this five type of Palo Alto data interfaces in a five different ways, and your Palo Alto firewall will support simultaneously deploy two different multiple deployment options. So one Palo Alto firewall you can deploy for HA interface as a HA interface, and one interface you can deploy as a layer 3, and one interface you can deploy as a layer 2 as well. Okay, so multiple simultaneously you can deploy in a different ways, but each and every deployment option has its own limitations, whatever we have discussed as of now, right? So that limitation is there, guys. Okay. Clear. And it's totally it doesn't mean you have to use all the deployment option. So in a production network, you may use in your infrastructure, they may use layer 3 deployment option as a gateway device, gateway firewall, they may deploy it. Or in a server segment, to protect your servers, a data center in a server segment in a switching environment, they may have deployed. So in that case, they may deployed in a layer 2 deployment. Or you may have already existing firewall that might be as a gateway firewall, that might be a traditional ASA, or that might be a next generation, one of the next generation firewall like Checkpoint, Fortinet, or any other firewall. But to reduce the your existing firewall workload, and if they want to add your one more firewall as a only for UTM features, then they can deploy as a virtual wire deployment. Or else if they have a traditional legacy devices, and if they don't want to change their existing network infrastructure, and they want to achieve higher UTM features or all next generation firewall features, in that case they deployed in a virtual wire interface mode. Okay, so all are totally depends on your infrastructure network design, guys. Okay, and it doesn't mean all the deployment option we need to use in the same time. Okay. Yes, yes, it's possible. Here it is called virtual system. It's possible. In Palo Alto, we call it as a virtual system. In Fortinet, we call it as a VDOM. So you can deploy, you can create one physical firewall. You can split as a multiple logical firewalls. Okay, that is called VDOM in a FortiGate firewall, and in Palo Alto, that is called virtual systems. Okay, so these are all the interface deployment option we have. Okay, let me. So here you can see how some of the deployment topology sample topology I'll show you here. This is tab mode, and you can see this is your Palo Alto firewall. It is not deployed in an inline mode. Okay, there is an existing firewalls, and that is used only for monitoring purpose, traffic visibility purpose. And this is virtual wire. So there is an existing firewall, and in between that traditional firewalls are not support L3 filter, sorry, L layer 7 filters and deep inspection and all. So in that case, you can deploy one Palo Alto firewall as a virtual wire deployment. So it can able to filter the traffic all layer 7 filters, so application control, URL filter, file blocking, all UTM features like URL filter, content filter, data leakage protection, all those it's possible, but it will not support routing as. And this is layer 2 and layer 3 sub deployment option. So you can so sometimes you can deploy here instead of this switch, you can deploy your Palo Alto firewall. So in a switching environment, okay, or else you may have existing switching environment. So you in there you can add a core layer. You can add your Palo Alto firewall as a layer 2 deployment, or you can deploy. So this is actually most of the scenario you can understand this with layer 2 deployment. If it is a layer 3, most of the scenario. So some of the organization they have a WAN router, okay, and behind the WAN router only they will deploy gateway device layer 3 deployment as well. In some of the organization they will directly instead of WAN router they will deploy like this is your ISP, and they will deploy your Palo Alto firewall, okay, and then this is your LAN, okay, like this. This deployment is called layer 3 deployment. Okay guys, so sorry guys, clear. And high availability, I shown you how it between the two firewalls we need to deploy, and in we need a pair of interfaces. So in that case, you can add one more. If you don't have a pair, two interfaces, HA interfaces in your Palo Alto firewall hardware, and you can use your data interface, one of the data interface for HA purpose. So that is your fifth deployment option, guys. Okay. So, okay, guys, let's start our in our scenario since layer 2 tab interfaces and all we'll layer 3 sorry virtual wire and layer 2 uh, tab interfaces and all we'll do in our live session. Okay, so today I just want to go with a layer 3 deployment. So because layer 3 on layer virtual tab interfaces, virtual wire, and then layer 2 and all, once if you are understand about the layer 3 deployment, then only you can easily understand so these deployments. So I just want to go with the layer 3, and layer 3 only support almost 90% of your Palo Alto firewall features. So we'll go with the layer 3 only, guys. So I just want to do lab with the layer 3 deployment. Okay, so let me go with your lab first. So this is close this lab. Let me. Today we are not going to deal with the data traffic and all. So let me add this one. So sometimes while booting it will take some time. So I don't want to go. It's a fresh Palo Alto firewall. So I need to do initial configuration and all. So it will take some time. So I just want to go with directly. I'll show you in our upcoming session. So how to access very first time your Palo Alto firewall. Okay. So as of now, I'll go with the DHCP mode. So by default, that is configured with the DHCP. So once I got IP address, I'll get the GUI console access. Okay. And between we just configure your LAN switch for testing purpose only. We are not going to create any rules or filtering and all today. So we are going to just enable this L3 interfaces. Okay, L3 interface Ethernet 1/1 and 1/2 of your Palo Alto firewall, and we are going to check whether that interface is working fine or not. I mean, whether that interface is receiving any IP packet or further it is forwarding any IP packet, and what are the prerequisites we need to configure L3 deployment, right? So that and all we are going to discuss, guys. Okay. So your Palo Alto firewalls, while very first time when you're booting, right? So that time it will take some time, and and to get the IP address from your DHCP server, it will take some time. So meanwhile, we'll make ready our LAN setup and our testing PC. Okay, both. I mean, your LAN and DMZ server segment PCs will make ready. Then we'll go to the lab, guys. Okay. And meanwhile, so when you're deploying your Palo Alto firewall as a layer 3 deployment, okay, so you need some of the you can't directly like in a like Cisco devices like routers, you can't just enable your enable your interface by giving a no shed and assigning the IP address. Then that interface will started to receive the IP packet and it will started to forward the traffic, right? So, but in Palo Alto firewall, your Palo Alto firewall data interfaces support 5 different deployment type. So it's not it's not your L3 deployment. It's not that much easy, or it's not L3 interfaces will not directly once you are enable or once you're given a no shut command and once you're giving an IP address to that, assigning the IP address to your interface, and that is not enough to activate your interfaces. So we have to assign some other thing like other attributes you need to add, other prerequisites you need to fulfill to enable your data interfaces properly, guys. Okay, so that are all we are going to see. What are the things we have to do? Just a minute. So I'm able to ping a management interface through connected switch with. So you need to check your management profile of each interfaces. So that interfaces need to be have that. I mean, you need to enable management services or administrative accesses. Okay, and respective interfaces. Maybe it's a sub interface also. You need to enable that management administrative access, or you can say it's a management profiles. We'll see that. Okay. So by default, administrative access are acceptable by your management interface only, not any data interfaces. Okay. We'll see that. We'll do that lab. So in a layer 3 deployment, we'll do that. Okay. So you can able to understand that. So where you need to enable and all. Okay. So okay guys. So let me, I hope it is booted properly. Okay, we'll wait few minutes. So it's freshly if it is booted and it's need to get a IP address from the DHCP server. Okay, so that we can access the console. So meanwhile, I think all your this is my Windows 2. Windows 2 is belongs to DMZ network. So DMZ network, I'm going to assign the IP address. So it is belongs to 172.16. 2.0/24 network, my DMZ interfaces. So I'm going to assign that network on this interface. One 172.16.2.22.10 is my DMZ gateway interface, that is Ethernet 1/2 on our Palo Alto firewall. Okay, so 255.0 and gateway is my Palo Alto Ethernet 1/2 interface 172.16.2.10 IP. I'm going to assign. Okay, click OK. I'm not going to access internet as of now, so I'll just leave my DNS things. Fine. Likewise, this is my LAN segment. LAN is having IP address 172.16.1.0 network, and 1.10 is my LAN gateway. That is my Palo Alto firewall LAN zone interfaces. Ethernet 1/1, guys. One 172.16.16.1.20, and that is /24 network. 172.16.1.10 is my LAN gateway. That is fine. Okay. So as of now, my LAN gateway and DMZ gateway is not enabled, so that I'm not able to get reachable to my gateways. Fine. So let's go to your Palo Alto firewall. So by default, so username is the admin, and very first time when you're accessing that, right? So that time default username and password is admin only. Okay. So I think admin. I got. So now I got IP address from my DHCP server. So I'm going to access what is my IP 192.168.0.117. Okay. So by you calling this IP address on my management PC, right? Okay. I'm going to access the GUI console of my Palo Alto firewall. These and all we will discuss in a initial configuration of your Palo Alto session. Okay. So as of now, if you're not having any idea, that is fine. So we'll focus only interface deployment. Okay. So rest of the things we'll do it in a upcoming live session, guys. So what is my management interface IP? That is 192.168.0.117. That means it's 190.168.0.0/24 network, right? So my management PC, my local machine only, which is having the same network 190.168.0.0/24 network. So by I'm using my local PC as a management PC here. So both are my management network and local PC LAN is same network. So I'm going to access the GUI console of my Palo Alto firewall from my local PC, which I'm using for testing purpose here, right? So 190.168.0.117, right? So that is my management IP address in my Palo Alto firewall. Okay, and go to advanced and click OK. Now I have access my Palo Alto firewall. Username as the admin, password also it's admin when you're accessing the very first time. Okay, and we'll see how to access the GUI console and CLI console. Everything we'll see in upcoming session, guys. Okay, so don't get confused. So this is my old password. It is asking me to change a new password when you're accessing very first time. Okay, username is after changing the password, you have to log in with your changed credential. Okay, now I'm logging with my Palo Alto firewall. This is my GUI console of my Palo Alto firewall, and This is my CLI console of my Palo Alto firewall, and very first time how to access this and all we'll discuss later. Okay, so interface all is the command to verify your enabled interface details. Okay, so data interfaces, enabled data interfaces details. So right now you can see nothing is showing. So interface Ethernet, we have connected our LAN network with Ethernet 1/1 and DMZ network with connected with the Ethernet 1/2, but it's showing that nothing. Interfaces are zero. Total configured interfaces zero. It's not showing. So your not no interfaces are enabled on any mode like L3, L2 or tab or virtual or anything. It's not showing. So we have to, it's a fresh firewall. We have to enable that interfaces, data interfaces. So to enable your data interfaces, first to go to your network and interfaces, you can see I have in my Palo Alto firewall a total 8 data interfaces. Okay, so I can deploy these data interfaces in a 5 different ways which we already discussed. So you can see interface type, tab mode is there, HA is there, virtual layer is there, layer 2 is there, layer 3 is there, right? So any of this mode you can deploy, but now we are going to deploy in a layer 3 mode. So when you're deploying layer 3 mode, so it's enabling the interface type and just click OK. It's not going to enable your interface properly, guys. Okay, so you need to assign some of additional attributes in your interface like virtual router and zones, IP address, and then along with tag, it's not a tag, is a tag, it's an optional thing. And one more thing is interface management profile. So someone is asked, so if I'm pinging, so I'm able to ping or I'm able to access management traffic only with my management interface, but other interfaces are not accepting. Okay, in that case, you can go to the advanced and you have to assign the management profile to accept that, so that we will see. Okay, so these I mean these 5 attributes we have to add when you're enabling your data interface in a layer 3 mode, guys. Okay, so that are all. Again, I'll show you that. IP, so in any L3 device without IP address it's not working, right? It's IP address is necessary when you're deploying as a layer 3, right? So IP is mandatory thing. And after that, your all next generation firewalls are basically working under the concept called zone or segmentation. So Palo Alto is a zone based firewall where any interface, if you are deploying in any mode like tab mode, like virtual layer mode, layer 2 mode, layer 3 mode, you need to assign the zone for that particular interface. So any mode of interface deployment you can choose, but each interfaces have one zone and specific. Let's say I'm deploying layer 3 zone, layer 3 interface, and layer 3 interface will work only layer 3 zones only. And I'm deploying layer 2 interface, and layer 2 interfaces will work only layer 2 zones only. Okay, and I'm deploying tab mode, right? So tab mode will work on tab zone only. Okay, and likewise virtual wire, vwire zone. So zones is nothing, it's a segmentation of your network. Okay, which is used to manage set of rules and manage your set of subnets or networks to create a rule efficiently to manage your firewall rules and features efficiently. You need to enable the zones. Zones are nothing, it's a logical segmentation of your network. Okay, so each interfaces need to assign zones. Okay, so that deeper about the zone we'll discuss later. So zones may have multiple data interfaces, but multiple data interfaces, I mean same interface, single interface will not participate into the multiple zones. Okay, it's not possible, but single zone have multiple data interfaces. Okay, that and all we'll discuss in our upcoming session. So we don't have a time to discuss all those stuff within 1 hour. So I'll just give you the necessary things. So what are the attributes we need to enable while deploying your layer 3 interfaces? If we are not giving that, how your interface will react, everything we will do now, guys. Okay, so And when you're deploying your layer 3 interfaces, first thing you need to assign zone. Second, you need to assign virtual router. So virtual router is nothing, it's a feature which enable routing functionalities where you can enable, where you can manage routing protocols or routing features on your Palo Alto firewall. Okay, so we'll discuss that in upcoming sessions. Okay, so this is it's about the deployment type. So your infrastructure may allow your management activities in other interfaces as well, like LAN segment interface, DMZ segment interfaces and all. Okay, so you're asking your office uh, deployment scenarios. So that they definitely will discuss that. Okay, so but if I started there, some guys are will not able to understand this. Okay, since all you guys are all, you may already worked on that product, but some of the guys are new to, right? So let me go with the flow, then we'll, whenever we are into that particular topic, so that time you can discuss with your scenarios along with everyone, so that we can able to gather much knowledge. Okay, so definitely, if still if you want to discuss with this with me, then you can call me. Okay, so as of now, I'll go with the flow so that they can able to understand. Okay, and Jones virtual router. Virtual router is the feature which enabling routing functionality, L3 functionality of that particular interface, along with routing protocols where you want to configure dynamic routing protocol or static routing, right? So that and all you can able to manage under virtual router only. So your interface add whatever the interface you want to enable, that interface need to be added under virtual router. So that is mandatory thing. And third, IP need to be assigned, okay, for that interface. Fourth, interface management profile. So this interface management profile for your data traffic, okay, for your data traffic, it's sorry, data interface, it's partially mandatory. If you're not enable interface management profile, your interface will forward the traffic. It will ask, it will get the IP packet, it will receive the IP packets, and it will forward the traffic without any interruption. If it is a through the traffic, any data traffic, if it is a to the traffic, if it is a management traffic, right? So in that case, you need to enable this interface management profile, okay, on that particular interface. And fifth one, tag. Tag is a color code. Tag is a color code which your physical appearance you can just identify. So that particular interface is by using color code, that interfaces belongs to LAN zone, but that interfaces belongs to WAN zone, like that you can able to understand. And likewise, these tags can be added in your security policy as well, so that you can easily understand. So that policies belongs to LAN to WAN, or that policies belongs to WAN to LAN, like that direction you can easily understand. This is the identifier. This is not mandatory feature to enable your when you're deploying your layer 3 interface in your Palo Alto firewall, guys. But these three things are, first three things are mandatory. Okay, and fourth one is fully optional, totally depends on your infrastructure design. So whether you can enable management traffic to accept management traffic in your LAN interface or WAN interface or the other interfaces, okay, data interfaces, or you can just restrict the management traffic with your data interfaces, so you can just leave it, this interface management profile. Okay, so but these three is all mandatory, and why I'm saying this fourth one is partially mandatory, so that is only for ping. Okay, we will discuss this scenario as well. Okay, so let's go with the lab. So instead enabling your interfaces in a proper way, first, to enable your L3 interface, any you have to select that interface. Go to, I'm going to enable Ethernet 1/1 as my LAN zone interface, since it is connected with my LAN segment, right? So my LAN segment. So just go to your Palo Alto firewall and select Ethernet 1/1 and choose the interface type. By default, it is chosen as a tab mode, but I just want to deploy as a layer 3, and scroll down and select your deployment type. As soon as you have selected, you can see it is showing assign this interface to particular virtual router zones. What is the zone? What are the zone you want to assign, right? Everything you need to define here. So virtual router, there is a predefined virtual router called default, and let me show you. go to virtual routers, and in the name of default here, you can see here only. As of now, in this virtual router, there is no interfaces added, L3 interfaces added. Once if you are in, while enabling your Ethernet interface as a layer 3 interface mode, right? So, and while adding that interface into this virtual router, it will be inside your interface, virtual router, and list of interfaces will be added here. So there you can enable where you can manage your routing protocols, right? And then static routes, default routes, everything you can able to manage here under default route only, guys. Default virtual router. This is virtual router. So it's nothing logical router which enabling large routing functionalities. Okay. So by default, your Palo Alto firewall will not enable with the routing features. That interfaces need to be, since you are in deploy, your Palo Alto firewall support multiple deployment type simultaneously on your Palo Alto hardware. Okay, so each and every interfaces you can deploy in a different type of mode, so that whatever you want to deploy as a layer 3, then only you need to add that interfaces into this default router, so that interface will eligible to routing functionalities. So it will accept the L3 traffic, and it will do forwarding, receiving IP packets, everything. Once if you're added that interface into the virtual router. So we'll see that. Okay, now go to interface and Ethernet 1/1, and interface type is layer 3. And after that, you need to assign virtual router to enable your interfaces properly. Okay, and so assign default router inside the default virtual router inside this interface. We are going to add it, and then security zone. So your Palo Alto firewall is a zone based firewall. Any interface you are enabling without zones, that interface will not work properly. So you have to enable that zones. So I'm enabling zones here from directly here. Okay, so or else you can directly go to the zones, click OK, and directly go to the zones and create a zone. And while creating the zones, you can see zone type, tab zone, virtual zone, layer 2 zone, layer 3 zone, right? So these are the zones. You can zone types we have, like interface type, like layer 2, layer 3, and virtual layer tab, like that. And if you're deploying layer 3 interface, and that's need to be added under layer 3 zone, guys. Okay, so let me create one layer 3 zone here. Zone type is LAN zone. And then select your interfaces to add in inside the layer 3 zone. As of now, Ethernet 1/1, we just enable it as a layer 3, but we are not assign all the necessary attributes into this. But we selected the mode type as a Ethernet L3 deployment, so that it is listing here. So I am selecting here, or else you can just leave it and just create one dummy zone without adding any interfaces, and go to your interface and Ethernet 1/1, and select here security zones. It will be listed whatever the zone you have selected. LAN zone. Okay. And so we have added these two mandatory things like virtual router and security zone. And third mandatory thing is any IP L3 devices should have a IP address. Without IP address, we can't able to do L3 functionalities, right? So IP is mandatory. So assign the IP address here. You can create a IP address or assign the IP address from here directly here. Okay, and you can see tags option is there. So tags is a color code. Okay, so that you can either use or you can just leave it. It is not uh, a mandatory thing. Okay, so that is a color code. Let me remove this and delete this, and I'm going to create a address object separately, and then I'll map with my interface, guys. Okay, go to address object, go to objects and addresses, create one address object, and before that I just want to create one tag identifier. So that is not mandatory thing. So first Ethernet 1/1 we'll assign the tag, and Ethernet 1/2 we are not going to assign the tags. Go to tag object and tags. Okay, and create here as a color code. So I'm going to create LAN zone. I'm creating a tag for LAN zone. Okay, and what is the color? So just define LAN is belongs to inside zone, right? So I'm going to trust. by olive green color. Code is LAN zone. This identifier, this green color is going to denote that is belongs to LAN objects. So that might be a IP address, that might be a policy, LAN to WAN policy, right? So the color code you can add it hit there. So I'm going to just click OK. And likewise, you can just create a one more color code. WAN zone I want to create, but we are not going to enable WAN zones. Okay, WAN interfaces and I'll just click add color code. Click OK. Okay, and now go to your address object, create a IP address for LAN, LAN and DMZ in gateway IP address here as a object. Okay, LAN interface IP. So LAN interface is belongs to LAN subnet 172.16.1.0. So that is 1.10 IP I'm going to assign. Okay, and /24 you can assign because that is belongs to /24 network, right? So 172.16.1.10 and tag you if you want you can apply here. So whatever the tag you have created that will be listed here. Okay, just refresh. Sometimes it will take time to update. Just refresh an address object, LAN interface, assign the IP address and then tag. Okay, it's not yet updated. Let's try to load. We're having some issue with that. Okay, now go to objects, create address object once again. LAN interface IP. Just check your tag. Yes, it is listed here. So LAN tag I'm adding here because it belongs to LAN IP address. So 172.16.1.10. It's totally for our understanding purpose, our visibility purpose. Okay, we are having this tags, so this tags are not going to change anything in your device functionalities, guys. Okay, so it is totally mandated, not mandatory, guys. Okay, it's optional. So I have assigned the IP for LAN interface. I'm just created the object, but that object I'm not yet assigned in my LAN interface. Likewise, I'm going to create one more IP address for DMZ, my data center segment, DMZ interface, where I'm going to have my servers. Okay, so 172.16.2.10/24 network. Okay, and then tags we don't have. I don't want to assign that. That is belong. We have only LAN and WAN tags only, and that is since it's not mandatory assigning tag. So I just leave it. Just click OK. And now you can see interface object. I mean DMZ interface IP objects also created. Now go to your network and interfaces. So go to Ethernet 1/1. Already it is enabled with the interface type layer 3, and we have assigned the virtual router default router. Okay, and if you look at the Ethernet 1/2, it's not deployed anything, and it doesn't have default router, and if it doesn't have any zones, but your layer 3 Ethernet 1/1, we already assigned the zone, so that is listing here. Okay, so now again go to Ethernet 1/1. We need to assign the IP address, right? So that IP is not showing as a none, right? So we need to assign the IP address. So go to Ethernet 1/1 and IP address. And now you can just add your existing IP objects we already created. LAN to LAN interface IP. That object you can use it. Or if you want to assign new IP address, you can directly go to new address object and there you can create and directly apply it, guys. Okay. I want to use existing object. So that is interface, LAN interface IP address. And so you can see that virtual router is assigned, security zone is assigned, and then IP address is assigned. All three mandatory things are assigned, and tags also assigned for this interfaces. Okay, and IP under IP object. And okay, now go to advanced, and you want to enable administrate, you want to accept the administrative services on this interface, LAN interface, Ethernet 1/1. So in that case only you need to enable management interface management profile, guys. Okay, so management profile you can create from here if you don't have any existing management profile, or else you can create under network profiles, interface management. Okay, under network profile, interface management, and there you can create one interface management profile, guys. So in that case, whatever the administrative services you want to accept on that on that particular interface, Ethernet 1/1 or Ethernet 1/2 or any interfaces. So these are all the administrative services like management activities, like to take a if you want to take a console of your Palo Alto firewall through HTTP or HTTPS or Telnet SSH, so in that case, you need to enable these services to accept on this particular interfaces, so that you need to create one profile and enabling that services, and then only your interface will accept the telnet or SSH or HTTP HTTPS services when you want to take a console of your Palo Alto firewall on that particular interface. Maybe when you're applying this in services on your on your LAN interface, and then your LAN you can able to take a telnet or SSH or HTTP or HTTPS console from your from your management I mean sorry your LAN interface, or whatever the interface you're applying this profile, that interface will support this interface management profile, guys. Okay. Hi Srini. Okay, so likewise other services or network services, like if you want to accept the ping we will use usually we'll check the connectivity reachability purpose, right? And response space and user ID option and all, it's part of management activities when you're going to do user based authentication, user ID filters, and then when you want to get a when you're apply some of the rule to block URLs or application. So in that case, your users need to get some warning messages like this particular URL is blocked, this application is blocked, you are not allowed to that particular services, like that. Some warning messages you want to show, then these services you need to be enabled on. After that, that can be enabled as a interface management profile, and then you can apply that profile in that particular proper interfaces, guys. Okay, so we'll do this activities like response space, user ID, and then ping and all those stuffs in upcoming sessions. So now we will enable only ping services for administrative access. So whether my gateway is reachable, my LAN users are going to ping your LAN gateway for the reachability purpose. If they are having some issue, so I'm unable to communicate. So this is for entire subnet, not specific IP address. That interface, your interface will be accept that. Okay, so your LAN user, LAN subnet, anybody from my LAN segment, if they try to ping my LAN gateway, and if I enable ping services in my management profile, then it will accept the ping on that interface. Likewise, any LAN user want to access your administrative access of like console GUI through CLI and GUI. So if you're enable that interface, so you can able to your LAN users from any machines, they can able to access the GUI console. And if you want to restrict with only specific IP address, that is also possible. But however, that interface need to accept that traffic, whether maybe he is belongs to LAN subnet or any particular IP address, right? So that and all possible, but that interface first should accept this traffic. Okay, we are enabling to accept the traffic on that interface only. By default, your data interface will not accept any administrative services. Okay, so this profile we are setting to accept the management administrative services like HTTP GUI console through HTTP, HTTPS, or CLI console through Telnet or SSH, and checking the reachability like that. Okay, I mean ping. Okay, so in my LAN interface, my LAN users, if they are not able to access some services, obviously they will try to check the reachability between my LAN gateway. So they need to ping it, right? So in that case, my LAN interface should accept that ping traffic so that you can come some you can able to get some idea. I'm able to reach my gateway, but from beyond that gateway only I'm not able to accessible. So there is an issue with after my gateway only I have some issue. So likewise they can, your users or technical persons will, it will help them to raise the ticket. Okay, so for that purpose I'm going to accept ping services, guys. Okay, so I'm giving a profile name mgmt profile for ping. Okay, so ping need to be enabled. Other any other services will not be allowed, guys. Okay, just click OK, and let me enable with the HTTPS as well. Okay, so that, okay, later we'll enable this HTTP. Just click OK. And now assign this interface profile into your particular interface, which is Ethernet 1/1 as of now. Okay, and go to your advanced and assign the management profile, whatever we have created. Just click OK and just click OK. So now all the mandatory things are applied to enable your interface Ethernet 1/1. So if you want, let me ping from my LAN machine to LAN gateway, ping 172.16.1.10, which is my LAN gateway. And now you can see I'm getting destination host is unreachable error, which means my destination interface is not working fine. My LAN gateway is not working fine. So now what I'm going to do, we have configured everything, but that configuration need to be saved. Then only your firewall will take action, guys. Okay, so to save that, you need to commit it. Okay, so it's not like Cisco routers. Okay, whenever you whatever you are configuring, it will suddenly it will take a action, right? So as because it is running as a running configuration, but this running configuration here it is not having any kind of, this configuration will not directly applied on your running configuration. This is called candidate configuration. Whatever you're doing, right, so that configuration is called candidate configuration. It is saved, but these changes are not applied until unless you're, as an administrator, you're going to commit yourself. Okay, that just commit, and then go to your LAN PC. Once the commit is successfully completed, then your LAN machines will get a reply from your LAN gateway, guys. See, 98% is there. Now you can see that I'm started to get a reply. Previously, I got destination host unreachable error. Now I started to get a reply from my LAN gateway, which means if I'm getting a reply from my LAN gateway, which means that interface is working fine, right? Guys, give me a 10 minutes max to max. So we'll test all those functionalities, whether that interface is working fine or not with all the attribute. If you are missing, your interface deployment is finished. We have deployed in a Ethernet 1/1 as a layer 3. So now that interface is working fine, but we need to know why we said all those things like IP address is mandatory or virtual router is mandatory, and then zones are mandatory, right? Why we said that we need to cross check, right? So now what we are going to do, we are going to remove whatever we have assigned one by one, like virtual router, zones, and then interface management profile. Then we are going to see what are the why we are saying above three is a mandatory, and interface management profile why we said as a partially mandatory. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, likewise, I'm going to enable Ethernet 1/2 as well. Okay, so that we can able to check other activities as well. So let me Ethernet 1/2. Uh, Whatever we have to assign. you have to assign the type Ethernet, select Ethernet cell type as a layer 3, and you need to assign the virtual router and assign default virtual router. You need to assign the zones. So I'm going to assign the zone here. It is L3 deployment. One interface should be participate in the one zone only. Okay, not multiple zone. Okay, so I'm going to deploy this. I'm going to create Ethernet 1/2. We deployed in a different segment. So that is server segment. So the DMZ segment. So let me enable the zone name is DMZ zone, and then zone type you can see L3 automatically it is selected. Okay, and click OK. And likewise IP assignment. So we already created one IP object for interface DMZ interface object. So that I have assigned, and management profile. Okay, fourth one, I'm going to use existing management profile. So which by default it's supporting the ping services only, not any other management activities. Just do commit as well. So now we have deployed Ethernet 1/1 and 1/2 both as a layer 3 interfaces. Now go to your Palo Alto Firewall CLI console. Okay. Now verify your enabled interface details. Now you can see previously it's shown 0 interfaces. Now you can see totally configured interfaces are 2, and IP addresses, and then they are belongs to which zone, and what is the virtual router name, right? And what is the IP address? Everything is there. Okay. And now go to your LAN gateway. Still I can able to ping my my LAN gateway, right? So because that is working fine. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove one by one on my Ethernet 1/1. So I'm like Ethernet go to Ethernet 1/1. I'm going to disable virtual router. I'm not going to apply virtual router on this interface. Just make it none, and let's see what will happen. Just click OK and do commit, and go to your test machine. See, we are getting some warning message. Ethernet 1/1 has no virtual router configured. Okay. So this is warning message we are getting. And you can see once it is successfully committed. See, we started to drop the packet. That interface is started to drop the packet because that virtual router only will activate the routing functionality, so L3 functionality on that particular interface. If you are not in added this Ethernet 1/1 into the any virtual router, that interface will not able with it doesn't have a capable to do route the traffic or L3 functionality. It will not receive, and it will not forward the traffic as well. Okay. Okay. So now you can see again we have got destination host is unreachable error. Likewise, now go to no worries, Sabu. We'll do that. Okay, Sabu, I think Sabu, right? So we'll do that. Okay. So no worries. Not now. It's almost 8:10, so it will take another half an hour. So we'll do it in upcoming sessions. Okay. No worries. Whatever we have committed in our course curriculum, everything will be covered, guys. Don't worry. Okay. So everything it's not possible to explore in a within 1 hour session, right? So fine. Ethernet we just disable the virtual router, and now what happens? We are on that interface is not able to receive any IP packet. Okay. So and let me create, but we just enable Ethernet 1/2, right? So now I'm trying to communicate with Ethernet from my LAN to DMZ segment. I just try to communicate. Let's see what will happen. So let me create some dummy rule. I'll guide you while in upcoming session how to create this land rule, I mean policies, and how to approach that and all. Okay. So land to source zone is land zone, destination is belongs to DMZ. So DMZ zone, and I'm going to allow anything, application service, anything. I'm going to accept. Allow, right? Just do commit. So as per the rule, land segment, land zone can able to communicate with DMZ zone. Okay. Once it is committed, go to your DMZ machine. Let check your DMZ piece. First, let me try to ping with my DMZ gateway. Ping 172.16.2.10. Right now, I'm in a DMZ machine, server machine. Okay. See, DMZ machine to DMZ gateway, it's possible. And likewise, I have only one rule to allow LAN to DMZ only, not DMZ to LAN. So now I'm going to initiate the traffic from my LAN PC to DMZ PC, which is having an IP address 172.16.2.20, okay, as a destination. Ping 172.16.2.10, my LAN gateway, sorry, DMZ gateway first. See, I have a rule to allow LAN to DMZ communication, but I'm not able to communicate. Okay. And then again 2.20 with your DMZ PC. It's not possible because it's not because of your firewall rule. It's because of your LAN zone, LAN interface, because your LAN interface doesn't support L3 functionalities without virtual router, so that it is not receiving any IP packet and it is not forwarding the IP packet as well. Okay. So now let's go to Ethernet 1/1, just assign virtual router. Okay. And likewise, oh, okay, fine. I'll just do commit. Go to your LAN PC and try to initiate the traffic once again. Now I am trying to ping my LAN PC to DMZ PC. Sorry, I'm okay. Yeah, fine. Now you can see I'm getting reply after enable the virtual router on this interface. So I'm not changing anything else except my interface virtual router in Ethernet 1/1, assigning the virtual router. I'm not changing or I'm not doing anything in my Ethernet 1/2. I just previously I just remove Ethernet 1/1 from the virtual router, and now I just added my default virtual router. So once if your default router is not added into that particular whenever you're enabling that specific interfaces, your router is virtual router is not added, then that interface is not capable to do routing functionalities, guys. Okay. Likewise, now Ethernet 1/1, just disable zones. Let's see what will happen. So that is the reason we said virtual router, assigning a virtual router to the particular interfaces are mandatory. Now, likewise, zone as well. Remove zone. Just do commit. See, again, we are getting a warning message Ethernet 1/1. This time doesn't have zones. And let's see what will happen. Go to your LAN machine. So once the commit is successfully completed, and you can able to see the difference. See, request timeout is happen again because your Palo Alto firewall it's totally depends on the zone based concepts. So if you need to assign the zones is mandatory for each and every interfaces. So if you're not assigned zone, then that interface will not work properly, guys. So okay. So So that is the reason we are saying zones also mandatory. Then obviously without IP address you can't able to ping in your interfaces. You can't able to communicate. So if you're removing the IP address also, it will not work properly. Okay. So right. So then, so these three things are mandatory, guys. Right. So I don't. You guys are know, right? So I don't want to remove IP address. If you want to remove that IP address, again, without IP address, L3 devices will not able to communicate, right? So just leave it. Then we'll go with a fourth option. Why I'm saying as a partially mandatory. Go to advanced and remove your management profile. Just click OK on Ethernet 1/3 and do commit. So now from my LAN machine Windows 1 to I try to ping my Windows 2, DMZ Windows machine. Okay. So Ethernet 1/1, still it is not assigned the zone, right? Sorry, I forget, guys. So we need to assign the zones first. I thought I assigned. Okay, Ethernet 1/1. Go to here and assign the zones. This time it belongs to LAN zone only. Just do commit. Okay, but meanwhile we just disable the interface management profile is none, right? Let's see what will happen. So now I initiated the data traffic, right? So from LAN machine LAN 1 Windows machine 1 to DMZ machine, that is Windows 2, I try to ping this machine to this machine. I am pinging here. So I now I assign the zones and everything, but I remove interface management profile on my Ethernet 1/1. Let's see what will happen. See, I'm getting a reply. So if you don't assign interface management profile, it is not going to affect your data traffic. Okay. It will still, that interface is capable to do further forward the traffic. It's do routing. It will do route the traffic and it will properly receive IP packet and it will further forward the traffic. Okay. So that's the reason I said that interface management profile is not mandatory. But why we said partially? I said partially it is mandatory, right? So now I'm having a reachability from system A, which is Windows 1 to your DMZ server PC, Windows 2 PC, right? I'm having a reachability. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just want to check my reachability of my LAN gateway from my LAN PC. Ping 172.16.1.10. See, see, I'm not able to check the reachability. I'm not able to ping my LAN gateway, but I'm able to ping my DMZ PC 2.20. So the traffic is passing through my LAN gateway, and after that it is passing DMZ gateway, and then it will reach my destination, right? So there is no issue with receiving the IP packet, forwarding the IP packet. But when I initiated the traffic for ping services on that interface, I mean for management purpose or reachability checking purpose, this is called a to the traffic. So when the destination is your firewall interface, that particular interface, that so according to that interface, that traffic is the to the traffic. Okay. So to the traffic is not accepted. Yes, routing is, I mean, that both are directly connected network. Can't. So you no need to enable any routing and so only security policies are necessary to allow the communication between two different zones. Okay, two different subnets. Okay, but for when automatically routing is enabled when you're added into the virtual router. Okay, and because both are directly connected networks. Okay, both are directly connected networks. So if you go to your virtual router, go to virtual router and you can see under default virtual router. Both interfaces are under one virtual router. So you no need to, why you need to enable routing and all for the directly connected networks. So by default, okay. He said, Zambu, he asked, like, did you enable routing for the communication LAN segment to DMZ segment, or its security policies enough? So I said both are their LAN, whether it is a source and destination or directly connected network, whether it is a LAN segment or WAN segment or anything maybe, but both are directly connected network. So in that case, you no need any default route or you no need any dynamic routing protocol and all to reach your destination. All right. But the allow LAN to WAN LAN to DMZ communication, you need a security policies. That's it. Okay. So in our case, we have these two interfaces under virtual router, default virtual router. So which means, let's assume your Cisco router. This is my router, and this is my Ethernet 1/1 and connected here. Okay, this is my Ethernet 1/2. That destination source is connected with Ethernet 1/1. Destination is connected with Ethernet 1/2. So in that case, to communicate your destination, do you have any, do you need to enable any routing protocols like any dynamic routing protocol, or do you need a static route or default route like that? So when you check under your router, it will show you the directly connected network. So both are directly connected networks. So it has a destination route. So it will not necessary to enable any routing protocol and all. Okay, clear? Only thing is, one segment to another segment, your firewalls are will not allow the traffic. We need to allow that by creating external rules. So we already created that, and you can see that. Okay, so the traffic is allowed. But now I'm initiating the traffic to my LAN. As of now, my concern is I'm initiating the traffic, which is destination 172.16.1.10, which is my LAN gateway. From my LAN PC, now I am initiating the traffic to destination as my LAN gateway only. But in my scenario, it is not able to. I'm not getting reply from my LAN gateway, but I'm getting a reply from my DMZ machines. So there is no issue with my LAN interface to receive the IP packet and forwarding that IP packet to the source and destination. I'm able to get reply from LAN PC to DMZ PC when I initiate the ping. Okay, but the same way when I initiated the traffic LAN machine to my LAN gateway, so I'm not able to get the reply. Okay, so this is because of that this traffic is management traffic or to the traffic. This is called management plane traffic or to the traffic. Okay, so by default, your data interfaces are not accept any management traffic or to the traffic. You can say the to the traffic, not accept any management traffic, guys. Okay, so comes under management traffic if destination is in your Palo Alto firewall interfaces, and you're requesting to take a telnet of your Palo Alto firewall or SSH of your Palo Alto firewall, GUI console, HTTPS on your Palo Alto firewall, right? So in from your LAN segment on this interface, if you are trying it, right, so that and all comes under the management traffic. So this traffic by default disabled by your data interfaces. So if you want to accept the traffic, you need to create a management profile. In that management profile, you need to enable these services like telnet, SSH, ping, right? These services you need to enable it, guys. So as of now, we disable in your LAN interface, we disable all your management interface profile. Okay, now go to your Palo Alto firewall and check out your Ethernet one slash, sorry, interface network interface Ethernet 1/1 and advanced. You can see management profile is none. Now I'm going to enable management profile. Okay, commit. Now go to your Windows 1. Once it is committed, let's see what will happen. See, After committed with assigning a management profile, in that management profile, I accept only ping services, so that now I am getting a reply from my LAN gateway for the ping traffic, guys. Okay, clear? The same way, if you are initiated that management traffic like telnet, SSH, or GUI console access of your Palo Alto firewall, let me try with a GUI access with my Palo Alto firewall on my LAN interfaces. So HTTPS 172.16.1.10. I'm not getting reply, right? But the same destination, go to your, where it is. It's not giving my menu. Okay, sorry. Scroll down. Now I try to ping the destination 172.16.1.10. I'm getting a reply, but the same destination I initiated the traffic to access the HTTPS console of my quick console of my Palo Alto firewall. I'm not getting reply. Okay. So 172.16.1.10. Likewise, same try to take a telnet of your Palo Alto firewall. So 172.16.1.10 and telnet, try to open. See, I'm not getting any reply, right? Because these traffics are to the traffic. It's a administrative access traffic. So to accept the administrative services and network services as a to the traffic in your Palo Alto firewall, you need to enable all these services. Okay. Then only that interface will accept when it is receiving as a to the traffic, when that interface need to be reply for that traffic. In that case only, it will, if you are enable interface management profile, then only it will give a reply, guys. Okay, now go to your Palo Alto firewall. Yeah, I just type HTTPS only. Let me go to here. If you are getting, okay, so it's not showing. There is there, right? HTTPS again. So once it is getting a reply, then only it will show you the certificate error or HTTPS certificate, everything properly. I have initiated with the HTTPS only, and along with I initiated telnet as well, right? So telnet is showing inactive. Okay, because your data interfaces are not accepting by default any management traffic, which means the to the traffic. Okay, so like when you're initiating the traffic to your Palo Alto firewall, that interface as a to the traffic. When you're trying to ping your LAN gateway, guys, I mean initiate the traffic as a LAN gateway to your LAN gateway, either to check your reachability by initiating the ping traffic. Okay, or either to try to take a console access of your Palo Alto firewall on your LAN interfaces like Telnet, SSH, and GUI console access through HTTP, HTTPS, that case only, right? So that services, we need to know, no issue, Srini. I'll share the recorded videos. Okay, so you can go through that. It will take 5 minutes only. Okay, so so we need to enable that services to accept. Okay, now what we are going to do? We are going to enable administrative services this time. Okay, along with ping, or we are going to disable the ping, but I'm going to accept the administrative services in my management profile for HTTPS and telnet. I just disable the ping. Okay, but if you go to LAN PC, see ping is possible now, right? So now I disable that ping. Let me commit. Okay, and just do commit the changes. You can let me share my contact number. So you can ping me in a WhatsApp. So you can directly ping me on my WhatsApp number. I'll share that. The same number you can directly ping me. So that is we used for demo purpose. Okay. So everyone will spread the, the messages, right? So let me drop my contact number. So in your chat box, I have shared my contact number, guys. You can do WhatsApp or you can call me. Okay. Now I have committed, right? Let's go there, and you can see as soon as I committed, as per the management profile, your ping services are disabled, so my firewall is dropped to accept the ping traffic. Okay, but now go to try telnet and ssh, sorry, telnet and other https console access. Okay, so now initiate new session. It's because it's inactive. Now I'm going to initiate new session again with 172.16.1.10. Okay, and I'm going to access telnet. Click OK. Now you can see you are getting some reply from Palo Alto VM login, right? So Palo Alto only. It's asking you to provide your username and password. Now I'm getting some reply and I got a console, telnet console of my Palo Alto firewall on my LAN interface, right? So I'm getting a reply, right? Right, guys. So likewise, go to your GUI console access through HTTPS services. Just reload, and you can see that I got some reply. Go advance and proceed. Now you can see we got a GUI console access of your Palo Alto firewall. Clear? So that's the reason I said it's a partially mandatory. Okay. It's totally or fully optional whether you are going to allow your LAN users to access. I mean, your administrators are going to access your GUI console access of your Palo Alto firewall or SSH console or Telnet console access of your Palo Alto firewall from LAN segment. And in that case, you need to accept that management traffic in your LAN interfaces. Okay. So usually in a production network, we'll accept all management traffic in your dedicated management interface only, and we'll accept only ping services for networks access only to check the reachability in all the gateways. Okay, clear? Okay, guys. I hope you guys are clear now. So what are the type of deployment options we have in a Palo Alto firewall and how to deploy layer 3 deployment option in a layer 3 interfaces when you want to deploy your Palo Alto firewall. Okay. So what are the prerequisites we need to fulfill, and if we are missing something like other attributes like zones, IP assignment, and virtual router, interface management profile, if you are missing something, what will happen? Everything we had a lab with, right? So I hope it's clear to all. So further, as we discussed in a session, our as we committed in our course curriculum, everything we will covered in this upcoming session, guys. So any doubts in this session, like a deployment type, and then in a layer 3 interface deployment. Okay. Any doubts? Whatever up to now I have covered. All clear, right, guys? Okay, guys, if you want to discuss with me regarding your admission process or any anything else, if you have any doubts or any other queries apart from the doubts, any other queries if you have, and if you want to discuss with me, you can just ping me in my contact number. Okay, and you can WhatsApp me or you can do call. Okay, guys, and I'll answer you guys. I'll give you the so, and I'll share one Google form. Okay, I'll share one form. So those who want to willing to join this upcoming batches, right? So a weekend batch, we are going to start with Palo Alto coming. Let me show you the schedule. So Just a minute, guys. Okay, this is our upcoming schedule, guys. So we are going to start one weekdays batch coming 16th. That is going to start with 14th. Okay, those who want to uh, check our those who want to have a session with the Fortinet, I'll share the recorded videos for the Fortinet. Okay, so you can just go through that. And other those who want to join a fine on firewall compo and other other firewall course curriculum and other firewalls, any random topics, I will share that recorded video for your reference, and you can just go through that, and you can find out, you can just check our teaching methodology if it is okay for you, and you can just if you're interested to join with us, you can join and you can contact me at this number. Okay, so this above number 9597818863, guys. And also we will share one form, and I request you to admission form. So I request you to fill that form if you are interested to join this batch, guys. And schedule is, we have one weekdays batch, so that is going to start on 16th March, and that is going to start with 14net, that fine on firewall compo only, and that first firewall you're going to start with a 14net, and the timing will be 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. It's a weekdays batch. And those who are looking for weekend batch, we are coming 19th August, we are starting on weekend batch with a Palo Alto. Okay, and the timing will be, that is Saturday batch only. There is no session on Sunday. A Saturday full day session, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Okay, in between you have 1 hour lunch break. Okay, so it will be split as a two sessions. So 10 to 1 we have one session, and then 1 to 2 you are going to have a break, and then 2 to 4 we have one more session, guys. Okay, that is no session on Sunday, only on Saturday, guys. Okay, that is 19th August. And we are going to start with a compo firewall training program, and as well as Palo Alto only. So that is going to start with a Palo Alto firewall. Okay, guys. So if you are interested, I request you to fill that form. My team will contact you from this number only, whatever I have shared. Okay, so that is our contact number. So from that number only, you will get a call or messages on our WhatsApp. Okay, and if you that time, if you have any queries, you can discuss with us. Okay, yes. So I hope everything is clear. Regarding fee structure, you can take this fine on firewall compo. Yeah, Vijay, I'll share it. Okay, I'll share the link. So once this video is converted, I'll share the link in your WhatsApp group, so you will get a link to access every videos, guys. Okay. So and along with course curriculum document also I'll share with you for your reference. Okay, guys. So I hope up to now everything is fine, so all clear, right? So in case if you have any queries, you can just contact with us, guys. Okay, and regarding course fee structure, so for fine on firewall combo, you can take for 20,000 rupees itself, actual cost is 40,000, and you can take, right now we are giving a 50% offer, so you can take this course for 20,000 rupees itself. And you can take the you, if you want to, those who are going to take a fine on firewall compo, you have a installment payment option as well. You can make 3 installment. So first installment should be a 50% of course fee, that is 10,000 rupees. Or if you are from abroad, for you it will, the cost is 300 USD. You guys can pay 150 USD as your first installment, second 75, third 75, guys. So first installment you can pay while joining this batch, and second installment you can pay once your first firewall is completed. And when you enter into the second firewall training program, that time you have to make second installment. And third installment, when you enter into the third firewall training program, that time you have to make your third installment payment option, guys. Okay. And for Indian students, so that is 10,000 INR. Okay. And first installment, and second installment 5,000 INR, and third installment 5,000 INR, guys. Okay. And those who want to take a single payment, you guys will additionally get 5,000 offer. Okay. So you can take, so that offer is applicable up to August 15th. Okay. So you can make single payment. If you make a single payment, you will get additionally 5,000 offer in your 5-on firewall combo, guys. Okay. So you can take 15,000 itself. You can take this 5-on firewall combo, and duration for this combo pack is 4.5 months to 5 months it will take. And the validity for this course is 2 years. So you can do n number of attempts after completion of your 5-on firewall combo, and you want to do reattempt to upgrade yourself. And in this 2-year validity, you can take n number of repeat times in a live session, guys. And along with that, we will provide the recorded video of each and every live sessions, so you can go through that as well. Okay. Or if you want to take a live session, and in this 2 years you can attempt n number of times for any firewalls in this 5-on firewall combo. Okay. And those who want to take any individual firewall like Fortinet in a weekdays batch, which we are going to start, and only we are looking for Fortinet, you can take this Fortinet, only Fortinet firewall for 5,000 INR. And for that, guys, you don't have any installment payment option. So that is because one single firewall itself, it will come around 10,000 along with GST. It will go almost 11,000 and 800, 12,000, right? Okay. So without, you don't need to pay any GST and all, guys. So you can make without any tax, you can make your payment. So the payment option, you can you can use, if you're from abroad, you can use PayPal, uh, or if you're from India, you can use IMPS option or UPI payment as well. So Google Pay, you Paytm, anything you can use it, guys. UPI option as well is there. So for this details, uh, you can contact me for the administration process, and then payment option. Anything you can contact me. Our payment gateway and everything will be provided while doing your admission process, guys. Okay. So anything else you can contact, feel free to contact us in this number, guys. Okay. 9597818863. Okay, guys, that's it today. Bye bye, take care.